Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to welcome you tonight. My name is Katarzyna Kłakowska, and I have the great joy of hosting this conversation with the director with the film we've just watched, Aniela Astrid Gabriel. Our meeting takes place within the framework of annual conference, the European Society for the Study of Symbolic Interaction, held this year under the title Symbolic Interactionism and Creative Processes in Turbulent Times. So in the audience tonight we have a wonderful mix of people. On one hand, theater professionals who were curious to see this important film, groundbreaking how it approaches theater history, and as Aniela mentioned before the screening, still not widely distributed. On the other hand, we also have conference participants for whom the name Grotowski, whose legacy was continued by Thomas Richards, will be new or unfamiliar. For those of you in that second group, I will offer just a few words of introduction before we dive into the conversation. Jerzy Grotowski is remembered in theater history as a charismatic reformer, someone who at a certain point at his artistic journey decided to step away from traditional theater in search of something deeper. This phase of his work is known as paratheater. It lasted from 1969 to 1978 and pushed the boundaries between theater, anthropology, ritual studies, sociology, psychology, and what we might call active culture. He created spaces where participants from all around the world would gather. For many of them, these experiences were transformative, even therapeutic. Although artistic in form, they often felt like spiritual experiences. At the core of these practices was the body, its awareness, its precision, and its expressive potential. Traditional song played a key role in Grotowski's work with the body and eventually led him towards new phase of his work, theater of sources. In the late 1970s, he and his collaborators began exploring traditional performative practices from around the world, studying ancient rituals and dramatic forms in search of what he called source techniques, deep archetypal expressions rooted in a cultural memory. In 1985, Grotowski moved to Pontedera, where he established the Work Center of Jerzy Grotowski, later renamed the Work Center of Jerzy Grotowski and Thomas Richards. And this stage of his work, carried on by Richards, came to be known as art as a vehicle. It could be safely said that Grotowski spent his whole life to create art as a space where people can look beyond everyday reality, like a vehicle for deeper experiences. And that is precisely what Aniela has managed to capture quite incredibly in her film. Today, the name of Grotowski often comes up in a context of revising and rethinking theater history, especially when we ask critical questions about abuse, about how power and influence is distributed in theater. But also, what are the limits, or what should be the limits of sacrifice in the name of art? What does informed consent really mean in the context of such intense, demanding work with actors? We might return to these questions in our conversation. This meeting is open to voices and questions from the floor, and I will take the liberty for asking the first two. Aniela, you spent 6 years in Pontedera witnessing the intimate work that took place there. This is one of a kind situation. I mean, until now, trainings and paratheatrical exploration were close to outsiders. Moreover, both Grotowski and Thomas Richards were against any recording of their work. And my question is, how did it happen that you find yourself there with a camera?
Okay, so I saw the opus in Wrocław, and the living room, and in the film you can see these scenes which are shooted in the black. The environment is black. It's cutted pieces of shooted in one long shot, which took us many years to do it in one long shot. The whole opus, the living room. the main work of the work center. And yes, and I really wanted to film it, and it was like continuation of my research, which I was doing in film school in Łódź, where during doing my films, I was trying to experiment with the film language, how to catch the energy. And even there is such a cinematographer in Poland, Jolanta Dyleska, who once said during the lecture that she shooted the film about Jews in the real canals, not in the studio, because she believes that camera catches the energy. And this quote was like, for me as a young student, something which I was following with my DOP, Zuzanna Kernbach, my director of photography. And actually we, during the school, were doing already these experiments, like filming in a total different way, which is normally common. And I think because of that, Thomas agreed that we come, because I came to him and I said, I would like to film it, I would like to film your work. And of course, he was in the distance and they were not allowing the film crew to come close. But he saw my previous movies and he understood our approach. So in the beginning, he understood me, and it was the truth that I want to really try to catch this kind of work, so the kind of ritual. And we were experimenting with the lenses, with the tripods on wheels, with easy rigs, with Steadicams, with all the equipment, how to film it so it can even a little bit give the audience this feeling of this energy that you are alive, which of course is also crazy because it is to be there alive, like in the religious practices, yes? It's so, but I think we somehow, some people say they felt this transcendence in the room during watching, so I think some of the solutions we found, which I now develop in my new projects. And this is why Thomas agreed us to come, because he saw that I'm not looking for a scandal or I'm not wanting to register the theater history, blah, 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 because it's not what is interesting for me, but that I want also as an artist to catch this secret. And then later on what happened, like that the team collapsed, and it was not, of course, planned, and it was a surprise also for us how it went, the filming. And here, because I didn't say in the beginning, we discussed with Kasia that maybe you should know, like with this film, it's also this interesting story. Like in the beginning, Thomas Richard says that the work is not to be seen, it's to be done. And before I was doing this film, I did a film during war in Crimea when Putin came in 2014 with Tatar people. I won some important prizes with this document, and I had like doors open to very big festivals, and this film was invited to be in Venice, in Paris, in really like super festivals breaking through. And 1 month before the premiere, we got the letter from the lawyers from Paris, from one of the actresses, that she doesn't allow us to, that she canceled her agreement to take part in it. And in documentary, it's very tricky. Not everybody knows that it's very easy to take the rights. So the directors are not protected, especially in Poland, because the laws are different in the countries. So that's why the film was not distributed, which for me, of course, was also very difficult, and I went to psychiatrists and so on. But in the end, I think it's a little bit like about the film, yes? So one of my friends said, okay, Aniela, you said like you do this film for your own work on yourself and your own development, so why you grieve so much that you couldn't go to Venice. It is your spiritual journey. So this is the story. But I think it's also interesting about when we talk about documentaries, how it can end. And it also says something about this subject we want to take, about violence, how much it affected, for example, this girl that she wants to erase this time of her life. Okay, I finish now.
As you mentioned, the film was born out of fascination with the work, from your desire to touch its mystery. Yet during your time there, the questions began to arise, both in you and in the participants of the work. Questions about setting boundaries in the theatrical practice, questions about the price paid for unconditional dedication to work, to art. I said questions because, in my opinion, radical move does not give us answers. It leaves us with a sense of uncertainty how to judge what we see on a screen, or even whether it can be judged at all. It makes us realize how complex the issues of abuse, transgression in theater, even informed consent really are. As a witness to the work, both an outsider and insider somehow, do you pass judgment on it? My question is, what is film really about for you?
And before you said, what is how I judge it, yes?
Yeah.
So with the film, I don't know, because I think the film is always about something. For everyone else, it's about something. Of course, for me, it was supposed to be about this need for transcendence in the human being. And for me, it's the most important subject in all of my films, like to look beyond. Is there something, what it is, and what is it, this moment when you, as they were talking, yes, when you pray, or when you sing, or when you have sex, or when you have deep conversation with a friend. There are such moments in our life that we feel this something. I think you all know. And what is it, this something, and blah, blah, blah. So it was for me, for the film. And then later, it also became about uwikłanie, about, it's a good word in Polish, uwikłanie, who can translate it? The, no właśnie, chyba jest, no właśnie, nie jest tak ładnie. Jak to będzie? Entanglement. So in our relations, in human relations, it's a very important subject for me, and I wanted to do it in the film, that in the relation you can get a lot of beautiful things, and then when you experience the violence, you accept it because you got so much more. And for me, I was raised in a very, I was also raised not in a very Catholic family, but the surrounding was Catholic, and we were attending the rituals like the Easter and the death of God, and kneeling in the church, and like experiencing this something bigger. And then this all things which happen in church, this abuse and pedophile and everything, it's so disgusting that it hurts the soul. And then I was talking a lot with my friends who are Buddhists and so on, and we came to the conclusion that in every little group, it starts with this beautiful idea like Jesus did, and then everything goes into this disgusting, toxic, death energy. And for me, when I was doing this film, I had it in mind very much. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a sociologist, I don't know, but I felt that this is something which I need to talk about, that we start with this idea, and then this community became to be rotten. And so for me, it's about it, yeah, that there's this utopia, and we try to do good, but then it ends not good, and why, and how we could do it differently. So maybe it's like this. I don't judge, no. Like what I tried in the film was not to judge, but to show the light and the darkness which are together. Like judging doesn't make sense. I cannot judge. Yes, in us there is also the devil and the light. Yes, so it's both. But of course, I'm towards the light. Of course.
So Kasia was asking her questions from the theatrologist's point of view, and now I would like to ask you some questions as a social scientist, sociologist.
Social science.
Yes, you know something about that.
Yeah, I come to social science.
Yes, exactly. I would like to ask you about the issue that is also important for social scientists. I mean, informed consent in the process. In your case, it was in creative process. Yes. How does it influence the effect of the work? Because on the screen we can see people, especially at the beginning, at the end, in the people that are giving fantastic performance, that are they are giving really good performance and they are work on a really high level. And on the other hand, we can see some abuse. We can see the breaking of the border, the requirements of devoting actually all life to the work. Do you think that is there any moment because at the beginning they gave this consent? Yes, they were aware what is their decision. But do you think that, and I will want to develop one more thought, that actually in the social science, those ethical aspects and ethical rules also give us the same dilemma, because we can learn more, we can possess more knowledge, we can get more from our respondents, but we have some rules that maybe can be perceived by some social scientists as limiting, as lowering the level of our research. Yes, so, but maybe it's not the case. Do you think that there is the possibility to work some mechanism of informed consent that on one hand catches the high level of the performance, and on the other hand, it doesn't make any harm to somebody, like protect the artists? Yes. So, do you think it is this? What is the role of informed consent? Does it?
How you understand this definition?
Mm-hmm. The agreement to take part in some stage, in some situation that may be abusing, maybe somehow breaking somebody's border. You know. Are there any, because our conference is about creativity, that's why are there any limits to the creativity? Should they be put by this informed consent? Świadoma zgoda. Świadoma zgoda.
For the abuse, for example, tak?
For the taking part in the artistic process, which sometimes means the abuse, yeah, what we can see in the film.
But if I will go into the direction which is not interesting for you, you can just stop me. So from the theatrological point of view and artistic point of view, it was this era after Second World War that we had very strong artists with very strong ego, and they were like messiahs, or they were like bringing us the peace for the pain inside. And it was like the cult more for Grotowski, wow, and the other guys, many guys. And what I see now, and I'm totally in this movement, we no longer want to have these big heroes on the pedestal in art, because it's and I will not say, because I have to be correct politically, but I think it's very stupid to make gurus and I think it's more like that through art we can connect, we can meet, and I think that there are a lot of fantastic artists who were the same interesting than this famous one, but they didn't made good promotion, and that's why. So I don't think so that somebody is special. I think a lot of people could be special. It's circumstances why, for example, somebody is more famous. And in the 70s, it was this consent, how you say it? Informed consent that we go for this. We will run every day at 6 o'clock, like in Gardzienice, or physical theater. We will suffer because we want to experience something more. And I also a little bit was in this trend when I was in high school to suffer because you think it's to go through, yes, like in the needle, in the hole in the needle, that you have to squeeze to that the secret of being will squeeze from you if you will squeeze yourself.
Yes, but and running in the morning or giving a lot of effort doesn't
effort
mean this kind
and
of
diet
abuse.
and so on, and and that you need this suffer to develop. And I think it was in this kind of theater, like Thomas really believes that shouting like, "What the fuck, Isa, you are doing? You think it's interesting what you do here? It's stupid what you say." And now you should feel, I have to be in survival mode. Oh, I'm sorry, I scared you? No, it was a joke. It was a joke because Thomas would use such a method so you could feel, I'm not good, and you will start to ask super interesting questions and telling super interesting things, but you will be in survival mode because I would scare you, and you will be alive because of survival mode. And this is what we say no to. Like, we don't want that somebody is shouting at us and insulting us, and we believe that we can be on the high of our creativity without survival mode, without this violence. So so now I would never give consent somebody to shout on me. When somebody would shout on me, I would leave. And I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
Okay,
yeah,
you responded.
I just wanted to show you how it works. Yeah? You can shout at me now if you want.
I'm not because I'm not shouting. But actually you responded, like the informed, there can be the coexistence of informed consent and high level of performance, artistic performance, yes? So, because sometimes I had an impression that there was this definition of situation that we have to sacrifice everything, even because there was a lot of abuse. They were playing with sexuality, they were playing with body, they were playing almost with spirituality. It depends on the life, but for me, with spirituality. So it was really abuse on the very delicate aspects of human nature, of human condition.
But
so,
no właśnie, but maybe I don't understand well this question, because it is very tricky, because our story is very complicated. I think it began very much, okay, Third War, Second War, our parents, our grandparents, the violence in the family, the missing men, the war, the trauma. It passes by. We are hidden in our bodies, we want to go out, we cannot do it, and sometimes when somebody is hurting us, is helping us to go out. And I think it was very much in the 70s, 80s, and I think I'm like the last generation which was on the edge of this. Now I think the young people, they will say, no, I have to have my oat coffee and slow motion and go to the nature or something like this. And I think it's much more clever in a way, but of course there is also another question, like for example, Professor Dariusz Kosiński, he was saying, okay, Aniela, but it is the question in the film, because very often it's like this, that you have this easy job in the theater, everybody loves each other, there is a lot of love and good coffee, and the thing is about nothing later. So I think for me it's not so easy. I still don't know how it is, because I also think that when we are totally relaxed and everything is comfortable, we will not find, like when you go to the mountains, you also have to go, and you are tired, and you are very tired, and then when you go on the top, you feel this incredible feeling. but somebody
It's
would
only the
understand
report.
me. Yes, but many people would I have conflict with many friends when we talk about it, because people say, Aniela, but you are very much in this suffering zone all the time and so on. And I don't want to be in the suffering zone, and I think we can achieve the creativity without violence, and it will be, and it is more valuable. I believe it totally, that it comes from compassion and love and being attentive, and this is the power for me, the love, the love, yes, being love, holding all these emotions. But it doesn't mean that we escape from the pain. Maybe this is that we accept the pain. We don't escape into marijuana or sugar or watching the series, because it's all the morphine we put. So then we become this superficial artist. But if we hold on the emotions, these difficult emotions, which each of one has, because we will die, we don't know when, we will lose every person we love, and it's obvious. And if we hold it and we keep it and we can stand it, then we can create on a deep level. Maybe this is what I think, but I don't know if it is about this consent.
Yes, it is. Yes. It is about the consent to some extent. It is, but it depends.
Yes, I agree as an artist to suffer, and this is very often subject of our talk. That I have a lot of friends who are doing a hairs or doing something else, and their life is better, I think, than mine, because they decide not to think about these things and not to hold on. They decide to watch series, to go for the grill, to go to Greece, and so on and so on. And we think, oh no, going to Greece, another pollution, the climate change, and koalas are dying. No, I cannot go. I go there. And this is but then I think, but I cannot live differently, yes? I want to be in this truth.
But the clue is that you say you want to be. It is your decision. The suffering is always your decision. And the informed consent is also about decision, not to experience the harm from another person, or abuse, or that somebody is touching your borders. Okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so thank you for the response. I think it was very good also for us. Okay, so I think maybe it's a good moment to...
I feel crazy, I'm crazy.
Maybe drink some water. Okay, I think I will... it's a good time to give there are some questions, Professor Konecki, I can see. So maybe it's a good moment to have some discussion. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this movie. It was a great sociological movie for me. I want to say some sentences, short, but always it takes more time. Sorry for this. I participated in many religious groups, small groups, and I feel something here from this movie. And I feel that there is something behind still. Maybe you know about this, but it was difficult to present in the movie, yes, because you didn't have pictures for this. There is something behind, I think, and this is authoritarian structure in this group, yes, as charismatic leader. And it comes from the different culture, completely different culture, from the East. And I'm a yoga instructor also. Then I had such critics from my students, sociologists, that it's a very patriarchal structure. And I think that Grotowski took this, all the philosophy also with the social structure from another culture. Now it's difficult, what you said, to accept such. And I have such an association with the academia, academy that we had similar structure, that students should suffer. Then the doctoral students should do everything, coffee, tea, and women something more sometimes. In the past, yeah, it was normal. It was accepted. I couldn't believe that nobody. It was in the 60s, 70s still, 80s maybe too. But I lived the country, I don't know. But it's very similar. What is going in the theater? Yes, what we now know, what happened, and in the then in other. Context also. That's it. I wanted to say that it's something behind, not nice, and I feel it. I feel it in this movie.
No, tak. Thank you. W ogóle, for me, it's interesting this what you said about this. I would love to hear more how you. As I said, I'm not the social scientist, but I always thought I would love that some social scientists watch this film and will tell me something more. And is everything correct what you said about Grotowski and the roots? And you have very good intuition. So it's also interesting that you know that you for sure has this experience, so you know. And yes, there is, but yes, but I cannot tell about it. The thing that it's true that there's something behind this, and I tried how I could to give the clue, to give the sense that there is something more, but I couldn't include it from many levels, not only because of Thomas. For sure it was, I haven't seen it, I just heard about it. Then I was asked not to tell about it from the actors, not from Thomas. And it's big, yes. But it was not that somebody was raping people in the room and so on. If I would know such a things, I would leave the film and give it to journalists and so on. It was not this, but it was something, as you said, another structure inside. So let's stop, because so I promised to the actor I'm a friend with. I will not tell about it, but maybe we have some project in mind of doing interviews with people from these kind of groups, and maybe in this book it will. Maybe then they will allow to talk about it. But very good intuition, respect. Yeah.
Hello. I wanted also thank you for this wonderful movie. I was very moved, and I want many questions, but two are on the first place, and because they are talking all about this work from the capital letter, you know, work. What was the goal? Did they know what is the end of the work or the goal of this work? Did Thomas said about it when it will be finished? You know, and the second thing, but I don't know if you can say it, is they starting to resign in the same moment, or if the actors are starting to left this Pontedera in the same moment, or from the same, like, for the same reason, or it was?
Yes. I will.
Okay, thank you.
So first with the work. So I think here also Professor S could maybe analyze, but I think it is present in many groups or religion that this goal is not so well defined. That's why you are all the time in it. But of course, it's like Benoit, this man with the black bird said in the beginning, that it's the work for the lifetime. So for me, for example, in the beginning of observing this group, I also started this process of really deep working on myself, which I think most of the people try to do. And I liked also that there is this practice there. And they were reading a lot of Gurdjieff. I also read Gurdjieff and so on. And still it is in me, this experience. Like I almost every day think, okay, Aniela, but have you done the work today? And for me, this, how I understood it in a good way, and I think Benoit or some of this, I became friends with them, understood it in a way that you are really, it's cliché, yeah? For the professor it can be cliché, that I'm really alive and that I try not to have this ego and perform before you, oh, this film was invited to Venice and it couldn't be there, and I had to take some pills. I didn't take pills. But I went to a psychiatrist and he said, oh, you don't have to take pills, you are strong, but you could have if you want. And that it's somehow this ego which I have to defend myself and so on. But then there is this true self which I can have contact in, that I'm really happy that I can share the work, I can see you that somebody is moved also by the same force which is in the nature, which is in our bodies, which is the part of the wild nature, and that we are together here in the same horror metaphysicus, yes? And we can hold our hands. And for me, this is the work that you know, that you can be, and I think it was what Thomas was all the time wanting from them through the song, that you are not thinking, analyzing, judging, performing, showing off, but you are in the contact, like from the flesh and bone. And I think they knew it, because I think we all know when we really are truthful to each other without this showing off. Like you are in love. It was also to Grotowski, or somebody said it from Grotowski, that it is like this total act of Grotowski, it's that you give yourself like in love totally. So I think this was this, yes? And this is the same in sex, yes? I think that you can have this sexual contact with your loving partner and you feel that you are not totally giving yourself, but you have these boundaries, how I look, how am I fat or not, or is it good, or he is satisfied or she is satisfied. And the thing is that you let go, that you are really in the moment. So I think this was for them. And then from the point of practice, it was this 1, 2, like 1, 2, 3, you go verticality. So in life, it's like gradually, like the rain which will come or not, that you can have this moment that you really are. And they Thomas wanted to control it, to have it, that through this practice, through these songs, through opening the body, through being also hyperventilated and in the move, you were achieving this on demand, yes? So not that you wait for this, that it will come when you climb the mountains or when you meet somebody when you're in love, but you decide, today at 9 o'clock we start singing session, I will go vertical. So it was the work to go vertical, to be in this higher connection, yeah? And the second question was... the moment they left. The moment they left, and the moment, no, and it was gradually, and it is also a heavy burden in a way that when we were going there with my DOP, we were always asking them questions. For me, it was like, I couldn't, I said, but how you can, okay, I can understand that you go high and so on, but I said, but life is so fantastic, and having a child or being in love or, yes, because for example, I was with I had a romance with one of the actors there in the beginning, this Benoit, and it couldn't exist, the love, because they couldn't have somebody from outside of the group. It will not work, because it only worked if they were inside of the group together. So during these 6 years, my DOP got married, was pregnant, I got pregnant, I gave birth, she gave birth. We were like living the life, and they were all the time there, and we were like asking the question, don't you want to have family and go or play in my movie? They couldn't play in my fiction movie because Thomas didn't allow it. And I think because of this, also talking, they started to podważać, to anticipate. So it was a little bit, I think, taki czynnik, yes, it was something. And then first left Antonin, then first Bradley, then half a year later Antonin, then Sarah, then somebody else. And then something bad happened and everything like bombed out and yes. So it was gradually, but it ended with a little explosion.
So thank you. You kind of answered part of my question here. So I basically have a comment and a question, but hopefully you can say something. I think for us, or at least for me, I can't speak for everyone else. It was interesting that that you were introduced before we watched the film, because the film is very like observer oriented. Like it's not like there's not like a judgment in the film. We just watched this happening, and then I was kind of looking around to see how other people were reacting, and some of us had to leave immediately afterwards because we couldn't wait to talk about it. So maybe you answered my question already, but and you kind of mentioned this, but my question was really just like, so what we saw, it was very group-based, like it was very about these people together, and you mentioned again, I was going to ask about how they left, if there was like new people coming in who also got involved in the group but weren't really shown. But also, did they ask you or the production team in general to participate, or did they really want to keep that separate of you're watching us and we're showing you, but we don't really think that that you're not someone who could participate? And in more general, like again, they're presenting it as this. I think the question everyone here has, and that just was asked, is what is the work? But is it seen as something that anyone can do, or we really only want to take like qualified people, and that you as outsiders were really seen as no, you really couldn't understand it, you can only watch?
Tak. Czekaj jeszcze teraz. Because there are two questions. No, I have ADHD, so I have to.
Just say whatever is interesting.
No, I think me and my DOP, we were very much inside, and we were doing also this hocus pocus. And of course, with my distance towards this guru figure, but no, we were very much involved and we were very close. I didn't film this thing which censored Professor. What's your name? Konecki. Oh, I know the name. So I'm very honored. So I didn't, but they were telling me about it, and it was not the main thing, and it was a little bit different than what we saw. I cannot tell. Boże, nie mogę nic powiedzieć. And we were in. I think we could not have filmed it if we were not so much in. But we were also going out, having these children and so on. Now I joke. But I don't know. I think, before coming here, like I'm trying to live my life to the full and doing good, but every day I feel this moment of really huge depression in life, yes, that it's such a pain of being alive. So I think it was, in this kind of work, you have this utopic hope that you can through facing this, you can go through this, yes? But you can't. As Tara said, you can't transcend, yes? We are stuck here with this body and with this fear of death and with this, no, with this pain. Pain, you know, so, but you said something interesting. No, tak, how they left. And yes, there was another group, which of course, in the film, which is a very primitive, I think, language. That's why it's so difficult. Like, I prefer personally literature, because film is very primitive. You have to be on time and these sequences and so on. But I couldn't show this in the book. I would write about it. It was all the time another group, which was studio in residency. And it was people who were there, they were not paid, they wanted just, and they were like learning from the main group. Our main group was called Focused Research Team. And this studio in residency very often came for the singing session. So every day of the work is that at 9 there was a singing session where all of us had to be nicely dressed, iron clothes, washed, like to the church, and the singing began. And personally, you know, for me it was great. Like, I also need this ritual. Yes, now when I start my day with my physical exercises and some short meditation, my day is much better than if I started with making poo with my 5-year-old son and giving him breakfast and running to work and so on. So it's a luxury to do such a singing session, of course. And it changes your life, and you can be more near this transcendence. But coming back to the question, so this studio in residency, they were learning this, and when this focused research team collapsed, Thomas took the studio in residency and he started to work with them. And they went to Argentina, and then also it also collapsed. And then it was closed, and now Thomas also started another group, which is called Theater No Theater. So, but I don't have contact, and also when you said that, yes, I tried not to judge in the film, and I don't judge because I think that Thomas is, I respect him for what he did, and it was difficult position for me, how I started to do the movie and how it ended. And I think it's like we talked before, it is the tradition of working in that way, which is the truth and honesty for him. He doesn't see it as an abuse or something bad, yeah? So, I don't know if I answered well. Yes, but yes. But to end this, because when I talked with Professor Kosiński, it was also about it that, for example, Pacini, or he gave some other names, you decide to work in some way, that you work naked or that you cross some borders because you want to achieve something. So some of the people think, and I also respect it, that you say, I want to work in that way because I want to go into this state and I accept it. Is this consent? Yes, no. And in some way, I think they did it, although later, that's why the film is censored. For example, one of the actresses says, no, she was not in her consent. She was in sect, so her decisions were manipulated, and now she doesn't want that somebody watches when, yes, this work. So here is, so what then, yes? And we work 6 years, and the money and the producer, and oh my God, and then she says, no, it was not consent. It was, I was manipulated. How you understand it? What do you think about it? No, she's there. That's why it's only here and. Not only here, but we have to have permissions, and it's very complicated. We cannot show it on the big festivals.
Yes, if it was a written agreement between you and this informed consent, then, but you said that there is a different law in each country, then
Yes.
It doesn't explain anything, yes? But only one way is to rely on the legislation, if there was a written agreement.
Yes, but they say that this written agreement was signed when she was, the lawyers from Paris, she was in the group, and the group was a cult and sect, so this agreement is not valid. Although our lawyer said okay, but then she was talking in Zooms, and after leaving the group, she still wanted to take part in the film. So, yes, but also I decided I don't want to go to court, and I just now focus on my new projects. Yes.
I have a question. This ecstasy that the members of the group were experiencing, it was really something astonishing, and I would like to know why. What was it? What was it? Was it something that they have to work to achieve this state of ecstasy, or was it something that this Thomas, this leader of this group, was evoking? Because I also saw that there were some members of the workshop, and they were also experiencing this ecstasy. So it seems that this was something that the leader of the group was able to evoke in random people, or how do you see it?
In some, yes, you could say yes, that he had some in this, I think he has this influence, how you say? Skills, exactly. But, for example, I think it is, it's not possible without a long-term practice with the body and with the song. That's why they sing one song for 20 years or 17 years. So each of the person had its own main song. So you learn to sing the same song every day as you don't know the song. And then the song can become your tool to this transcendence. But I think mainly, to be honest, for example, when this curly boy came to this ecstasy you can call, Thomas said that it's not good work. I decided to keep it in the movie because movie is primitive, we need strong scenes. But also when I was reading the old texts of mystic people, it's in many traditions written that the real development of the soul, when you start to perceive God or the higher power, and you are the junior on the way, you cry, you are very emotional, and it's junior state. When you are advanced in the work of receiving the higher connection with universe and sorry, it's very mambo jumbo sounds, you don't go into such a state. You are very stable, focused. You help the other, you see the other. So it's in the fruits. So it is also in this old mystic, Ojcowie Pustyni, I know, that the higher development of the soul is when you serve the other. In the reality, you are a social worker or something like this. So I also see it like this. So this I wanted to, it's not, yeah. But I think it's true that when we start to perceive that we can lose our ego, that we can really be together, we can experience the life, which is this mystery, we can go in such a state, I think. But what I think we can achieve, and I think everyone can achieve it through many things. I do it when I, for example, ski or ride a bike, and they do it through these songs.
I have not a question, but like a thought, because what hit me the most in the movie is that people that devoted their whole life into the full expression and the truth in the expression, they couldn't tell us what happened. Like they could be open only when he is in present or when they do the work. And I saw like a dishonesty in this whole story, because while they weren't present, they were on the cameras, they couldn't speak their words, they couldn't express. And I don't know, maybe it was because it was beyond the words what they experienced, or something else.
Exactly, it's what you say. It was very, for me, also frustrating. I think one thing is beyond the words, but second thing, for me it's also beyond the words, and I try to catch it. And they were very much influenced by the leader, and in the film, before Zooms, they were so afraid, I think, that they were telling what he's telling. It was the problem. This is something which I really squeezed them, because in the beginning it was only, you know, like very, even much more what you say.
But you achieved the contrast of the whole story because of that.
But yes, but in the Zooms, they also didn't tell me on the camera what they told me on WhatsApp, because they were afraid that somebody will hear it.
So the work left them in the moments of truth.
Sorry?
So the work they practiced so much, like left them in the moment of truth.
Left them?
Left them, like there was no work with them when they were about to say the truth about what happened, because they were so afraid of their leader.
In a way, yes, but in a way, no, because Vasito is complicated, because when I think now about it, I was all the time thinking, but what is the work? What is the work? What do you feel? Blah, blah, blah. And it was many like, oh, like I'm in another room, or like, oh, something else, blah, blah. And very interesting thing, sorry for that, I did so much. I'm overstimulated, but I think it is something which you cannot talk. And also it was the rule in the work center not to talk about the work too much. So when we were all the time asking about the work, it was for them, oh fuck, we should not talk about the work between each other. And I said, okay, but here we have to talk about the work. So we were like crossing the rule because of, and I think the interviews, we did a lot of them, really, they were pushed to the limits to talk about the work. So I even think they don't have thoughts about different thoughts. It was like this limit. And maybe it can be interesting for you as a social scientist that it was forbidden to talk about the work. So, yes. And why? Of course, because then it's easier to have the control, of course. And maybe not, maybe because really they believed, the leader, that this is sacrum, this work, and we don't talk about sacrum, like in, you don't paint the god, when it was before, no tam kiedy to było? Wczesne już. No nie można było malować Boga, tak? No nie można o tym gadać, bo to się upraszcza, tak? So I think it was also this, that you, it's very complicated, I think. But I think what for me it's interesting when I think about social science is that I have this intuition that it's about many, many things which happened before, the same mechanism and the same schema, yeah? Like in the church or in some religious groups, they are very similar. Yes, it's true? Oh yes.
Maybe we want to be punished at some point.
Yes, or exactly. There are No właśnie, o, tu jest, ty jesteś tu. Ty. Jakbyś, matematyk. Tak, cześć. Wspaniały gość. Poznaliśmy się, na przykład matematyk, mathematician, tak? And he saw Radical Move już twice, tak? Czy third time. We had really great conversation and he was on the Thomas Richards course, tak? In the summer, nie? I look, like, for example, for me, this is super, that yes, of course it's about the sect, but from another point of view, it's not about the sect. Like this PhD mathematician, scientist from Warsaw, he likes to come to watch Radical Move third time. He was on the summer course in Thomas, and he's very stable, conscious man. just wanting to experience something more. So now so he can be another hack for the social scientist in terms of this movie. Oh, not to judge it only as a sect. No właśnie, powiem tak.
So maybe I will add just one comment to what was said. There was a question whether the work is the state of ecstasy is something that's developed by the actors or is it something that Thomas evokes? So I also took workshops without Thomas, with Jessica only.
Oh.
These were also like work on the songs, but conducted by Jessica. And
this is the girl who left, who only stayed with
yes,
Thomas as
yes. Jessica is now the main assistant of Thomas. And she was able to also to like assist people in going into these states. So I think it's not just Thomas' personal charisma or skill; it's more complex.
To ciekawe.
Would be able to go into the state alone.
Alone, like I don't know. From my experience, taking part in these sessions, the group setting is very important.
No, totally, but
Yes.
the same is like, I'm sorry that I tell about sex, I'm not sexist person, but there is this sexual energy Thomas works with, yes? So the same like when you masturbate, you never go so high when you have this real love with another person, so we cannot have the ecstasy alone. Or during skiing we can have. But maybe it's different quality, of course. But for me it's like about this relation in love, yeah? That this group is giving you this, and I'm very, I also need the group, to sing together. It's like, I think it's this, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's, for me it's maybe not about, it's about the feeling of safety. Mm-hmm. That the group and the leader provides, and this is what is missing in the solos, when you try to ascend this path by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Super. So you feel protected that you are not alone.
I think this is more like a subconscious thing, but the presence of people who know the work and can guide you. It's like, you know, doing ayahuasca. Super. It's like doing ayahuasca solo versus doing with an experienced shaman.
I'm super critical about ayahuasca, but for me it's fast food. But yes, but for the soul. But it's super what you said about it, that you feel protected when the other people, because you reminded me, because I was all the time relating to this relation in love, and that with another human, that it's needed to go into this state. But it's true, which is also incredibly beautiful, that we have this hidden life inside of us, and to go there is like to go with you, to meet your ancestor, all the dark things, all the things, and it's true that you can make this journey. When you do it alone, it's very scary, and when you are protected by the group, it's not. To też bardzo fajnie. Wszyscy jesteśmy zwariowani.
No more question? Since one question. Okay. Maybe it should be one of the last questions because it's really late.
Thank you very much for this film. It was very, very interesting. And I want to ask you one technical question. I know that our period was 6 years, but how much time you spent with the group in this process?
In the days?
In the months or
in the months.
weeks?
I have to count it, but it was like 6 times I was there. Six times, and I was going for 1 month. So I didn't count it, but it was like we were going there for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for 1 month. We went with them to Hong Kong. So it was very, like for the documentary movie, it was like insane, so long. And I also went, during making this film, I also went there without camera to be there with them 2 weeks, because camera costs and so on. But it was really a lot of shooting days, like not to be countable. And documentation and going with some little camera just to be as much as possible. And then also we stayed in very in the contact, yes. And also sometimes somebody like Benoit came to me, we went together to the mountains, or I went to visit them, and it was like, and then it started to be very disciplined work and shooting, and yeah, you can, yeah. What do you think? Maybe you will tell something, somebody will tell something. I don't know how you see it. Is this a sect or not a sect, or?
Looks like a cult.
Like what?
Like a cult. Yeah.
Like a cult.
I wanted to say one more thing about, because I don't agree that that the work was possible because of this crossing boundaries. I think this is a very horrible myth that we can do the same thing in the good environment, in the good space.
You know, oczywiście, of course.
Okay.
I was maybe this is totally, and this is totally what I think as a director, and with Bradley, this tattoo the guy who is my friend, we talked a lot about it, and I believe, maybe I didn't, but through my researches, I see that when we come from this point of compassion and empathy and love, which of course is very szeroki term, then we can achieve the most. Of course, never through this. It collapses when it goes through this. It ends, nothing remains. It's crazy. So totally I agree. But I only said that we need some effort, that maybe now I also teach sometimes at Academy of Arts at university, and I see that maybe we cannot go the other direction, that okay, everything must be so pleasure. The effort is good, like when you have little child and you want to, like I was in France now, and all these French ladies, they even don't breastfeed the children because it's too heavy for them, and they give them to nursery when they are 3 months old. And for example, I don't know, my attitude it's different, and they ask, oh, it was terrible. Yes, it was very difficult, but it was worth to do this effort, yes, with the baby or with the art. This is what only I wanted to say.
Okay, so yeah, so I think this is the moment that we should clap our hands and thank to Aniela.